Welcome to Chemistry Cubicle. In the previous video, I have told you about the nucleophilic and electrophilic substitution reaction of haloarenes. And now, in this reaction, I will tell you about the reaction of haloarenes with metals. Okay. And I will also cover some miscellaneous reactions of haloarenes which will help you out in the competitive exam. Okay. Now let's come to the topic. Now, the first is reaction with sodium. So in this, the first one is Wurtz-Fittig reaction. Okay. So what is Wurtz-Fittig reaction? In this reaction, the alkyl and aryl halides reacts with sodium in the presence of dry ether. Okay. So in this reaction, alkyl and aryl halide react with sodium metal in the presence of dry ether. Okay, which is a solvent. So it forms alkyl derivatives of benzene. Okay, so this reaction is basically useful for the alkylation of benzene. Okay, alkylation of benzene. So let's see how the Wurtz-Fittig reaction works. Now let's suppose this is our chlorobenzene. Okay, and this is our ethyl chloride, Cl, CH2, CH3. Okay, it reacts with 2 moles of sodium metal, okay, in the presence of dry ether. Okay, the solvent is dry ether. So what happened? This 2 mole of NaCl will leave out, and what will form? It will form the ethyl benzene, CH2, CH3. This is known as ethyl benzene, and the byproduct is 2 moles of NaCl. Okay, this is our aryl halide and this is our alkyl halide. When it reacts with the sodium metal in the presence of dry ether, so it forms ethyl benzene. That is what is happening here. This is alkylation. Okay, so alkyl group is going to attach over that benzene ring. So this is the alkylation of benzene. So this is known as Wurtz-Fittig reaction. Now the second one is Fittig reaction. Okay, so what happened in this reaction? Only haloarenes, okay, only haloarenes are treated with sodium in the presence of dry ether. Okay, and they will form diaryls. Okay, they will form diaryl as the product. Let's see. This is our chlorobenzene. Okay, so it reacts with the another molecule of chlorobenzene. Okay, both the reactant will be haloarene, and it reacts with 2 moles of sodium metal in the presence of dry ether. So it will form diaryl as the product, and the product in this case will be diphenyl. That is this. This is known as diphenyl. Okay, and the byproduct is 2 moles of NaCl. So the basic difference between the Wurtz-Fittig reaction and the Fittig reaction is that in the Wurtz-Fittig reaction there is one alkyl halide, okay, and one aryl halide. But in the Fittig reaction both the reactant are aryl halides. Okay, this is the basic difference between the Wurtz-Fittig and the Fittig reaction. Now the next is reaction with copper powder. Okay, this is also known as Ullmann biaryl synthesis. This is very important reaction. Okay, so what happened in Ullmann synthesis? So when an iodobenzene, okay, when an iodobenzene is heated with copper powder in a sealed tube. Okay, when an iodobenzene is heated with the copper powder in a sealed tube, then diaryl is formed as a product. Okay, so this is known as Ullmann biaryl synthesis. Now let's see the example of Ullmann synthesis. This is our iodobenzene. Okay, it reacts with copper powder. Okay, we have to take 2 moles of iodobenzene. So when it is heated in the sealed tube, so it will form diaryl. In this case, the diphenyl is the product. I have only written that iodobenzene. Okay, I have only written here iodobenzene. So what about the chloro and the bromobenzene? Okay, so chloro and bromobenzenes will not undergo this Ullmann synthesis easily. Okay, I will tell you that why this is happening. Okay, 2 moles of CuI is the byproduct and this is known as diphenyl. Okay. Now, only iodobenzenes undergo the Ullmann synthesis, not our chloro or bromobenzene. Okay, chloro or bromobenzene does not undergo Ullmann synthesis. Why? Because the reactivity of iodobenzene, okay, the reactivity of our iodobenzene is higher than that of these chlorobenzene or bromobenzene. So it is highly reactive or highly reactive as compared to chloro or bromobenzene. This is highly reactive because of the large atomic size of iodine atom. Okay, so this is why, due to the higher reactivity of iodobenzene than chloro and bromobenzene, so only iodobenzene undergoes the Ullmann biaryl synthesis to form diphenyl as the product. However, when an electron withdrawing group such as NO2, okay, when an electron withdrawing group is attached at the ortho and para position to the chloro or bromobenzene, okay, so then they both, the chlorobenzene or bromobenzene, can undergo the Ullmann biaryl synthesis. Okay, so this is the case when the chlorobenzene having the electron withdrawing group. Okay, so it is undergoing the Ullmann biaryl synthesis. Okay, so what happened when we attach the electron withdrawing group at the ortho and the para position? So its reactivity, okay, its reactivity increases. Okay, due to the electron withdrawing group, the reactivity of chlorobenzene or bromobenzene increases. So that's why they can undergo the Ullmann biaryl synthesis. Now, the next is reaction with magnesium. Okay, so our bromo and iodobenzenes. So our bromo and iodobenzenes form Grignard reagents when they react with magnesium. Okay, they form Grignard reagent when they react with magnesium in the presence of dry ether. Okay, dry ether as a solvent. Okay, so they will form the Grignard reagent when they react with magnesium in the presence of dry ether as a solvent. Now, let's see. This is our bromobenzene. Okay, when it reacts with magnesium in the presence of dry ether as a solvent, okay, it will lead to the formation of Grignard reagent. Okay, Mg Br. This is our Grignard reagent and it is known as phenyl magnesium bromide. Okay, so our either bromobenzene or iodobenzenes, okay, they will form when they will form Grignard reagent when they react with the magnesium in the presence of dry ether as a solvent. Now, this is very important. Our chlorobenzene, okay, our chlorobenzene will form the Grignard reagent only when the solvent is dry THF. Okay, what is THF? THF is known as tetrahydrofuran. Okay, it is a solvent. Okay, so when the chlorobenzene is treated with magnesium in the presence of dry THF as a solvent in place of dry ether, okay, then only it will form the Grignard reagent, that is phenyl magnesium chloride. Okay, Now, the next is reaction with lithium. So whenever bromo and iodoarenes, okay, whenever bromo and iodoarenes react with lithium metal in the presence of dry ether, okay, in the presence of dry ether, they will lead to the formation of corresponding organometallic compound. Okay, I have told you in my previous video that what are organometallic compound. Organometallic compounds. Okay, so when bromo and iodoarenes react with dry ether and lithium metal, okay, so it will lead to the formation of organometallic compound. Let's see. So this is our bromobenzene. Okay, it reacts with the lithium metal in the presence of dry ether as a solvent. So it will form the phenyl lithium. And the byproduct will be LiBr. This is phenyl lithium. Okay. So this is organometallic. Okay. Organometallic. That is, the metal is directly linked to the carbon atom, which is the part of the organic group. This is known as organometallic compounds. Now, the last one is reduction. Okay, so our haloarenes can be converted into the corresponding arenes by reduction with nickel aluminum alloy. Okay, by reduction with nickel aluminum alloy in the presence of alkali, just like NaOH. So let's see what happened. This is our chlorobenzene. Okay, so we do reduction of this chlorobenzene in the presence of nickel aluminum alloy and in the presence of alkali, just like NaOH. Okay, so it will reduce to corresponding arene. Okay, this is benzene. Now, let's see the chemical properties of side chain substituted halogen derivative. Okay, so this is our benzyl chloride CH2Cl. So what happened when it react with the aqueous solution of KOH? Okay, it will form the benzyl alcohol. This is known as benzyl alcohol. Okay, and the byproduct will be KCl. So it does not require any drastic conditions, just like in the case of unsubstituted haloarene. Okay, so let's take an example of unsubstituted haloarene. This is chlorobenzene. Okay, this is unsubstituted. So it requires the drastic condition. Okay, when it react with the aqueous alkali. Okay, so it requires the drastic conditions, just like higher temperature and higher pressure, 623 Kelvin temperature and 300 atmosphere pressure. Then only it can lead to the formation of phenol. Okay, so it requires more drastic condition. Why? Because of the less reactivity. Okay, least reactivity of this haloarene as compared to the substituted one. Okay, so here the carbon halogen bond is quite polar and reactive, so it readily undergoes the substitution reaction and it will form the benzyl alcohol. But in this case, this carbon and halogen bond is less reactive due to resonance, so that's why it requires the drastic condition, that is higher temperature and pressure. Then only it undergoes the substitution reaction to form phenol as the product. Okay. Now, the next reaction is reaction with benzyl dichloride. Okay, so when benzyl dichloride react with the aqueous KOH, so it will form the unstable intermediate. Okay, these two chlorine group is substituted by the hydroxyl group. Okay, so it will form CH and 2 chlorine will be replaced by the 2 hydroxyl group. Okay, this is unstable. Okay, this is gemdiol. Okay, this is unstable because at 1 carbon the 2 OH group can never be recite. Okay, so it is unstable. So what happened? For the stability, it immediately releases out one water molecule. Okay, and when one water molecule is lost from this unstable intermediate, so it will form benzaldehyde. Okay, so this is very important reaction. Okay, so it is forming benzaldehyde. Now the next reaction is the halogenation of the side chain. Okay, so what happened when the Cl2 gas is passed through the benzyl chloride, okay, in the presence of sunlight. Okay, so what happened? The halogenation occur at the side chain. Okay, so it will form CHCl2, okay, benzyl dichloride. And if we further pass the chlorine gas in the presence of sunlight, okay, so it will further react to form minus HCl. It will further react to form the benzo trichloride. Okay, this is benzo trichloride. So this is the halogenation of side chain. Now the next reaction is reaction with alcoholic ammonia. Okay, so what happened when our benzyl chloride react with the alcoholic solution of ammonia? It reacts to form the benzyl amine. Okay, that is CH2NH2. This is benzyl amine, and the byproduct will be ammonium chloride. Okay, so this is the reaction of benzyl chloride with alcoholic ammonia. Now the next is reaction with magnesium. So whenever benzyl chloride react with magnesium in the presence of dry ether, so just like the unsubstituted haloarenes, the substituted haloarenes also react with magnesium to form Grignard reagent. Okay, this is form CH2MgBr. Okay, so this is known as benzyl magnesium bromide. Now the next reaction is Friedel-Crafts reaction. Okay, so whenever benzyl chloride reacts with benzene in the presence of anhydrous AlCl3 as a catalyst. Okay, this is Friedel-Crafts reaction. So whenever benzyl chloride react with benzene in the presence of anhydrous AlCl3, it will form the diphenyl methane. This is known as diphenyl methane. Okay, and the HCl will be byproduct. Now the next one is reduction. So when it react with zinc copper couple and alcohol, so it undergoes reduction to form toluene. Okay, so it undergoes reduction to form toluene. Okay, this is the reduction. Now the next is oxidation. Okay, this is very important. Okay, so what happened when our benzyl chloride, okay, any substituted haloarene, when it undergoes oxidation with the lead nitrate. Okay, when it undergoes oxidation with the lead nitrate, it will form the benzaldehyde. Okay, it will form benzaldehyde as a product. But what happened when our benzyl chloride reacts or get oxidized with the presence of strong oxidizing agent, just like KMnO4, or we can take H2SO4, potassium dichromate, and HNO3. Okay, we can use either of them. Okay, so in the presence of strong oxidizing agent, the benzyl chloride will convert it into the benzoic acid. Okay, so this is the oxidation of substituted haloarenes. So with this lecture, the haloalkane and haloarene series is over. Okay, hope you like the video. Thank you.